I'm 64. I realized that there are 6 things that men over 60 simply cannot ignore. Now, some of them are obvious. There are a couple that weren't obvious to me. And specifically, there is one that has changed my way of thinking, looking at the years ahead. Let me take you through these. The first one, I simply took for granted between 40 and 50. Between 40 and 50, I thought of training as staying fit, strong, and looking reasonably good. However, at 64, that calculation has changed. So at 64, the goal is preserving what you can do. You're not 34. So you have to give yourself some leeway and work within the framework of your existing capabilities. So you want to maintain your strength, your cardiovascular fitness, and of course, your mobility. Why? Because we want to preserve our independence. Isn't that critical? I want to maintain my independence, obviously, as long as I possibly can. So now I look at my goals as I want to be able to do what I'm doing today at the age of 75 and beyond. Therefore, I would place physical capability as number 1 on my list. That brings me to the second one. The older I get, the less comfortable I am in saying, well, I'm getting older. Don't ignore changes to your health. But we all notice things such as sleep patterns, libido, urinary habits, getting up more often during the night, recovery, other aches and pains that you hadn't recognized before. Some changes aren't illnesses at all. They're the price of choices that used to cost us less. Number 3 is something I've noticed in the last few years. I can do something I did 20 years ago, but hey, the price I pay for it now is completely different. I think we all know what I'm alluding to. We all love having a beer with friends and often say, we'll have a quiet drink, but it's never really that quiet. And interestingly, I do start to think about the day after, the night before. Why? Because I know that recovery is that much longer. I tend to suffer a little bit more than what I did previously. So obviously, we still want to enjoy those moments, but we need to understand the trade-off. So the trade-off is really enjoying tonight versus sleep. Sleep patterns become incredibly disturbed. Training the next day, recovery. So they're all the things that, if you bring them into focus on the night before, can help you somewhat balance that trade-off. The next one is where most men our age get caught, because for most of our lives, we were taught that more is always better. More income, more assets, more security. For the best part of our adult life, we were driven by that because more simply seemed better. But at 60, I'm not sure that the equation is that simple. You have your partner, you have your children, and possibly grandchildren. You have a lot of friends, and you start to realize that gradually you see less and less of the people that matter the most. Partner, mates, children, grandchildren. They all need time. Now, until you actually put a concrete date and time into your calendar, diary, however you operate things, it just will not happen. We often say, we'll catch up soon, or let's do this again, but the follow-up rarely happens. So relationships drift not because of conflict, but because of neglect. The last one is probably one of the easiest of the 6 to neglect. It's not about health. or money or responsibility. And that's why so many of us neglect it. After decades of work, family, and responsibility, it's surprisingly easy to reach this age and discover that everything in your week has a purpose except pleasure. For me, that's music. I was writing songs when I was 15. I was playing in pubs around Sydney in my teenage years. And at 64, I'm still writing songs because I love creating them. It's not about chasing money, seeking fame. It's simply enjoying the creative process. There is one thing sitting below all six, and that is time. At 34, 10 years seemed abstract. At 64, I don't know if I have another healthy 10, 20, or 30 years. But I do know later it's more expensive after 60. You don't have to reinvent your life. You just have to become more deliberate with the things you want to keep. Your health, your relationships, financial security, and the things you actually enjoy doing. Those are my six. I'm interested in what I've missed. If you're over 60, what has become more important or difficult than what you expected? Why don't you put it in the comments below, and that can be part of our conversation.